Okay, next we have to look on to a famous electromechanical device, which is actually a hardware device which is helpful for you in order to ensure the security of your data. Okay, so all those techniques that we have studied so far was actually some software mechanism, or otherwise was certain algorithmic techniques, okay, which can be used in order to secure your data. But the thing is that now what we are going to study is a hardware device. It is actually a physical device which is helpful for you to ensure the security of your data. Okay, so actually this rotor machine is an electromechanical device, okay, which works based on various cylinders. That means the cylinders are independently rotating. Actually this machine consists of 6 independent cylinders. Okay, so this rotor machine is actually an electromechanical device which consists of independently rotating 6 cylinders, through which electrical impulse will be flowing. Okay, so based on the current flow, otherwise based on the electrical impulse flow, okay, these 6 cylinders will be rotating, okay, based on which you can do the encryption and the decryption process. Okay, so with the help of such electromechanical devices, electromechanical means which includes the concepts of both electrical and mechanical concepts. Okay, so since there are 6 cylinders which are rotating independently, okay, we can consider it in terms of mechanical concepts. Okay, on the other hand, these rotate since these cylinders are rotating based on electrical impulse, whatever is flowing through them, we can consider it in terms of electrical impulse, or otherwise electrical concept. So hence we are saying that rotor machine is actually is an electromechanical device. Okay, so actually this is the real figure of a rotor machine, which consists of 6 cylinders. The thing is that each and every cylinder, okay, is independently rotating irrespective of what are the cylinders which are present just nearby it. Okay, each and every cylinders will be simply rotating of its own. Okay, and the thing is that each cylinders will be rotating based on the electric impulse that is provided to it. Okay, then another thing we have to notice that each and every cylinder is having 26 input pins and also 26 output pins. So why we are denoting 26 inputs and 26 outputs? Because we know that our English alphabet set consists of 26 characters, or otherwise 26 alphabets or 26 letters. Okay, so based on those letters, they are provided with, these cylinders are provided with 26 inputs as well as 26 outputs. So with the help of each and every cylinder, we can provide the plain text message into these cylinders, okay, corresponding to each and every bit or each and every characters whatever is there in the plain text message. They will be doing the encryption process, and the corresponding ciphertext message bits will be provided in terms of the output pins whatever is residing in the cylinder. Okay, so the input pins will be provided, or otherwise whatever is your plain text message, the corresponding characters or corresponding bits will be provided into any of the 26 input pins of this cylinder, and the corresponding ciphertext message bits whatever is generated with the help of these cylinders will be generated in the corresponding output pins. Okay, hope it is clear. Okay, so in order to satisfy all the alphabets or all the letters or all the characters whatever is there in the plain text message, we are providing 26 input pins as well as 26 output pins for each and every cylinder. Okay, so the thing is that if you want to implement mono alphabetic cipher, okay, although I'm saying that this is a hardware device or this is an electromechanical physical device which is used to ensure the security of your data, the algorithms or the methods whatever is implemented or whatever is used in order to implement the security of your data is based on what all concepts that we have studied earlier. Okay, see what all techniques that you have studied earlier, that means Vickner's cipher, Vernon's cipher, one-time pass cipher, Caesar cipher, etc., Playfair cipher, etc. All those techniques were purely software techniques, okay, or otherwise it can be termed as a algorithmic mechanisms. Okay, it did not employ any form of physical device or hardware device in order to ensure the security of your data. But the thing is that the rotor machine is actually a hardware device in which software concepts are embedded. Okay, the software concepts whatever is used in order to make this hardware device working. Okay, we are using the software methods itself that we have studied so far in order to make this hardware device working, or in order to utilize this hardware device to ensure the security of your data. So if you want to use the concept of mono alphabetic cipher, then a single cylinder alone will be required. Okay, on the other hand, if you want to use the concept of poly alphabetic cipher in order to ensure the security of your data using this rotor machine concept, you will require more than one cylinders. Okay, so the thing is that all those 6 cylinders are there, 6 independent rotating cylinders are there. Okay, each and every cylinders are based on their own inputs, and also they'll be generating their own set of outputs. Okay, but the thing is that there is no necessary condition that all the 6 cylinders have to be used simultaneously. Only 3 of these cylinders need to be used at a particular moment of time. Okay, only 3 cylinders is quite necessary, either if you want to use the concept of monoalphabetic cipher or polyalphabetic cipher. In the case of monoalphabetic cipher, it is quite necessary that you use a single cylinder. A single cylinder will be quite enough for you in order to implement a monoalphabetic cipher, because a single character is given at a time and the corresponding ciphertext letter can be generated at that particular time from a single cylinder itself. But the thing is that if you want to use the concept of polyalphabetic cipher, more than one cylinder can be used, and a maximum of 3 cylinder is quite necessary, or is quite helpful for you to perform this cryptographic mechanisms. Okay, although we are having 6 cylinders. Okay, so hope you have understood what is the actual concept which is happening here. Okay, and actually it was a very famous machine. Okay, and this machine was actually very popular and was widely used until the invention of DES algorithm. The DES algorithm means data encryption standard algorithm that we are going to study in the next classes and all. Okay, so until the invention of that DES algorithm, this particular mechanism, that means this particular method of encrypting or decrypting your data to make it secure, that means a rotor machine, was highly popular. Okay, so one such machine which used the concept of rotor machine was Enigma machine, which was famously used in the World War II. Okay, it was used in order to secure the data whatever was being transmitted through the networks between the soldiers and all. Okay, so such Enigma machine which used the concept of rotor machine was actually widely used when World War II occurred. Okay, and whatever the basic components that were present in this Enigma machine in order to make your data secure. Okay, what were the basic components or what were the basic units that were present in this Enigma machine in order to make your data secure are, first of all, there was a keyboard, okay, with 26 keys which was used in order to enter the plain text as that in the case of encryption, and also in order to get the ciphertext or otherwise in order to provide the ciphertext letters at the time of decryption. Okay, so actually the first basic component that was present in Enigma machine was 26 letters or 26 keys keyboard. A keyboard which consists of 26 keys. Okay, so the thing is that these 26 keys will be helpful for us in order to enter the plain text letters, plain text alphabetical letters one by one when it was during encryption process, and on the other hand we can enter ciphertext letters when it was during the decryption process. Okay, so the keyboard was quite helpful for us in this particular Enigma machine for us to enter the plain text letters or otherwise the ciphertext letters if you are opting for encryption or decryption respectively. Then the second basic unit which was present in this particular Enigma machine was a lamp board with 26 lamps. Okay, so the thing is that these 26 lamps will be helpful for you in order to specify the output of a particular process. Okay, that means the lamps, the 26 lamps will be there corresponding to each and every letter of your alphabet set. Okay, there are 26 lamps and each and every lamp will be defining each and every alphabetical letter of your alphabet set. Okay, so the thing is that with the help of these lamps, when each and every lamp blow, or otherwise when each and every lamp will be glowing, okay, when it will be glowing the light, the thing is that we can identify to what particular letter it is glowing, and we can identify what letter is actually active in that particular context. Okay, for example, if the first and the fourth bulb is glowing, fourth and first light is glowing, lamp is glowing, then that means first lamp corresponds to the letter A. Okay, and the fourth lamp corresponds to the letter D. Okay, so likewise we can identify what are the various letters that are actively participating, or otherwise what are the letters corresponding to each and every plain text or otherwise ciphertext messages which is actively involving in this particular context. Okay, so for that particular purpose we are using a lamp board which is having 26 lamps in total. Okay, then the third unit which is present in this Enigma machine is a plug board with 26 plugs. Okay, naturally I told you that each and every cylinders will be rotating based on the electric pulse what is vibrating through it. Okay, so naturally we require plug board, and the thing is that they are having a total of 26 plugs, okay, connected by 13 wires. That means half the number of wires are there in order to connect the various plugs, whatever is present in the plug board. Okay, the thing is that don't think that each and every cylinders, that is we are having in total of 6 cylinders with us. Okay, in the rotor machine we are having a total of 6 cylinders with us, but the thing is that I told you it is not at all necessary you have to use the entire number of cylinders in a particular context for performing encryption or decryption. Okay, based on which you are going to perform monoalphabetic cipher or polyalphabetic cipher, you can either opt for using a single cylinder or otherwise a group of 2 cylinders or maximum 3 cylinders. Okay, it is quite enough for you in order to perform encryption or decryption. But the thing is that uh, the way you're going to perform the encryption and decryption varies day by day. That means the way you are going to encrypt the message today won't be the same for tomorrow for the same cylinder. Okay, it can vary each and every day. The way you're going to encrypt the message, okay, for each and every cylinder goes on changing, so that any possible attacks can be overcome. Okay, we can withstand any possible attacks that can occur in this particular cylinders. So the thing is that don't think the encryption and decryption process is carrying out in the same way for every cylinders. Each and every day, the way in which you are going to perform this encryption or decryption changes day by day. Okay, the algorithm or otherwise the software concepts, whatever is related to each and every cylinders, in order to perform the encryption and decryption is changed day by day. Okay, so that the way you are going to encrypt the message today won't be the same for tomorrow for the same cylinder. Okay, so that will be ensuring much more security for your data. Okay, so for that purposes we are having the corresponding plug boards and likewise and all. Okay, then I told you there were you can use a total of 3 rotors instead of using all the 6. If you are using a polyalphabetic cipher concept, then a maximum of 3 rotors itself will be quite enough for you. And also in order to support all these things, a reflector is also there. So don't think that this is directly the components or units whatever is present in the rotor machine. Okay, famous machine was implemented based on the concept of rotor machine, and that was termed as Enigma machine. And these units or these components are actually the components which are present in the Enigma machine. Okay, and this Enigma machine purely works based on the concept of rotor machine. It was used widely during World War II. Okay, and it gained much popularity till the invention of DS algorithm. Okay, so that's all about rotor machine. And next important thing you have to look onto is the segnography concept. Okay, so the rotor machine and segnography concept is somewhat an important question that will be frequently asked for university examinations and all. Either of these questions will be asked. Okay, sometimes a rotor machine will be asked, or otherwise sometimes segnography will be asked. Anyhow, questions from any of these will be asked. Okay, there will be a sure question from any of these topics. Okay, so actually rotor machine as well as segnography are the concepts which is helpful for you in order to ensure the security of your data. Okay, so rotor machine actually was a hardware device which works based on software concepts to ensure the security of your data. Now we are going to study about segnography. Actually segnography is not a hardware concept. Okay, it is also a software concept, but the thing is that we are going to hide the security. That means we are going to hide the security mechanism whatever has been implemented to secure your data from the attacker. That means the attacker itself won't be aware that some security mechanisms has been adopted in order to secure your data. Even the attacker won't be aware that the certain security mechanisms was actually adopted by the sender in order to secure the data. Okay. So, before going on to the details of what is segnography, let me tell you how this term originated. Okay, so actually segnography means concealed writing. Concealed means secured writing. Okay, so it originated from 2 words, that is stegnos, which actually means concealed or protected. Okay, and the second term is graphos. Sorry, graphene. Okay, graphene, which means writing. So stegnos and graphene, which means concealed writing. Okay, that means we are writing or we are securing our data more protectively. Okay, so actually the segnography means hiding of one piece of data within another. Okay, so I told you segnography helps us to secure our data without actually the attacker even knowing about it. Okay, even the attacker won't be aware that we have performed certain security mechanism in order to secure our data. Okay, so before going on to the details of what is actually steganography, I would like to say one drawback what was affecting cryptography. Okay, there was one famous drawback, and for that particular reason steganography was put forward. Okay, so saying the drawback of cryptography, we can say what is the advantage which is specified in steganography. So actually what was happening in cryptography, if a piece of information, otherwise if a particular message, if it is found as highly confidential, the sender will be undergoing some encryption processes, okay, so as to keep it secured, or otherwise in order to convert it in the corresponding ciphertext message, and that corresponding ciphertext message will be transmitted through the network so as to reach the receiver side. Okay, so actually what is happening in this cryptography, the ciphertext is actually passing through the network to the receiver side. So the attacker who is waiting outside the network, when he sees the ciphertext, quite naturally he will be aware that certain mechanisms was adopted by the sender in order to convert this original message into this unintelligible form, that is ununderstandable form. Okay, and then it is getting transmitted through the network. So as soon as the attacker sees such a unintelligible form of data, I told you what is actually ciphertext. Okay, so when the attacker sees that ununderstandable form of data, at that moment itself the attacker will be able to understand that some sort of mechanism, security mechanisms was adopted by the sender so as to do this conversion process of converting the plain text message into the corresponding ciphertext message. Okay, in order to avoid any type of attack by the attackers. Okay, so naturally at that moment itself the attacker will be able to understand that whatever message is being transmitted through the network, it requires high confidentiality, or high secure data is getting transmitted through the network in another form. Okay, it is not getting transmitted in its exact form, in another form it is getting transmitted. So at that time attackers will be doing certain attempts in order to retrieve back the plain text message. In order to recover the original message, he will be doing some attempts from his own part. Okay, so that is actually happening in the side of cryptography. So steganography, what does steganography do? Steganography simply hides the actual data, okay, behind any other data. Okay, that means the attacker who is waiting outside the network will simply see a usual message, or otherwise simply he will be seeing a image or picture likewise. Okay, so on seeing that particular image or picture or a simple message, he won't feel anything that behind that original message, behind that particular image or behind that particular picture, there is an original message which is hidden. Okay, he won't have any feeling that an encryption process was carried out by the sender, or any other security mechanisms was adopted by the sender before getting it transmitted through the network. He won't have any feeling, because simply in the form of a simple message or in the form of a simple image or picture, the message is getting transmitted through the network. So actually the sender has hidden, okay, the original message. That means the message which requires high confidentiality is actually residing behind this other message. Okay, so for example, okay, if I want to say a very confidential message to you, okay, if I want to convey a very confidential, very secured message to you, okay, but the thing is that I'm going to adopt a steganographic methods rather than using the cryptographic method. Okay, so I'm not going to do any encryption process because I'm not adopting cryptographic methods. Okay, so the thing is that simply I'll be sending you a message. That means good evening, how are you? So actually that particular message doesn't require any high confidentiality. It is actually a usual question, and it is not any matter of high confidentiality and all. Okay, so how you are, or otherwise how are you, or good evening. Okay, such type of messages are usual questions. Okay, so the thing is that the actual message that I want to inform you, okay, which requires high confidentiality, is actually hidden within this particular message, that what I have told you now. Okay, but the attacker, whoever is waiting outside the network, simply sees this message, that is good evening, how are you, like that. Okay, he won't be aware on real message is actually hidden behind this particular message. Okay, so naturally he won't do any attempt in order to extract the plain text message, or otherwise in order to extract the original message, whatever is hidden behind it. Okay, so naturally that's possibility is also becoming very less. So actually that is happening in the case of steganography. So the drawback which was found in cryptography was actually rectified in the case of steganography. Okay, The another thing I want to tell you is that the carrier and the embedded message, I told you actually there will be a message, okay, which is hidden behind any other message. Okay, so there is a carrier message and the embedded message, okay, and the carrier, whoever is carrying out this embedded message, is called as the signal carrier, and the key by which we are going to keep these messages secured is called as signal key. Okay, there are two concepts which is related to this particular steganography: signal carrier and signal key. Okay, signal carrier is a carrier, whoever is responsible for carrying this embedded message, and signal key is a key, whoever is responsible for securing this information. That means a combined information together with the carrier message as well as the secret message. Okay, that particular key is called as a signal key. Okay, so hope it is clear for you. Another thing I have to tell you is that there are various techniques by which you can implement steganography. Okay, there are various techniques by which you can implement steganography. Actually, these techniques are all traditional techniques. Okay, these techniques are not actually used now and all. Okay, so those techniques which are coming under steganographic mechanisms and that was used traditionally are, okay, invisible ink, pin punchers, typewriter correction ribbon. Okay, and also one thing is that character marking. So actually what are happening in each and every technique that you need to study. Simply you need to be aware on what is actually happening in each and every technique. Okay, so character marking means whatever text letters are there, that means whatever letters are there in your original message, simply with the help of some pencil and all, we will be marking, we will be making a slight mark above each and every letters. Okay, we'll be making slight markings just above the letters of each and every letters of the plain text message. Okay, so the thing is that once a person actually looks onto the message, he won't be able to identify what is the exact message which the sender has created. Okay, so simply with the help of a pencil, they will be making a mark, slight marks on top of the letters of the message. Okay, the thing is that such type of changes or otherwise such type of manipulations, whatever was made by the sender, can be visible only if it is kept to a particular angle of the bright light. Okay, only by placing that particular page with respect to an angle of the bright light, even a particular person can identify such sort of changes has been made into that letters of the message. Okay, the second famous steganographic technique is invisible ink. That means other than using the pencil, okay, some chemical substances, okay, some chemical substances or otherwise some chemical ink will be applied to these plain text letters. Okay, and here also we won't be able to analyze what is actually the message whatever is getting transmitted through the network, other than, okay, we have to adopt some other chemical in order to find out the difference whatever is happening on that particular message. Okay, okay, so in the case of invisible ink, okay, other than using a pencil, okay, some chemicals will be applied to the plain text letters so as to disable the attacker to identify the original message. The thing is that if you want to identify what is the actual content of that message, some other chemicals has to be applied, or otherwise some type of heat has to be applied so as to identify what is the message whatever is written by the sender. That is invisible ink. Okay, so in the case of character marking, simply pencils was used in order to edit the letters of the message from the top. On the other hand, invisible ink, we will be using some sort of chemicals and all. So what is pin punchers? On top of the letters, we won't be applying any chemicals, or we won't edit it with the help of a pencil or like that. Okay, we will be simply punching it. You know what is the real use of a punching machine. Likewise, with the help of pin punchers, not a punching machine, with the help of pin punchers, we will be simply punching the letters of the message, so that easily nobody can't identify what is the content of that message. Okay, simply we will be punching the letters of the message with the help of pin punctures. And the last one is typewriter correction ribbon. That means in order to find out a random difference between the lines of the message. Okay, naturally the message can consist of a large number of lines. The original message can consist of a specific number of lines. So in order to differentiate between them, and in order for the attacker disabled, or otherwise in order for the attacker not easy for him to analyze what is actually the content of the message. Okay, he should not be made aware on what is the content of the message. So in order to suppress his intention for reading the message, simply with the help of this typewriter ribbon and all, correction ribbon and all, simply we will be making certain variations between these lines of the messages. Okay, so these are the various methods by which you can adopt the steganographic techniques. Okay, hope it is clear for you. Character marking, invisible ink, pin punches, as well as typewriter correction ribbon. Okay, so one thing I have to note you in this particular context is that these techniques were used traditionally, and now there are various techniques, okay, latest techniques available based on steganography, okay, which you can adopt in the practical applications and all. Okay, so hope it is clear for you.